So I'm gonna give it a countdown, and we'll just clap. Everybody just clap at the same time. So 1, 2, 3, claps. Oh, sorry. Ready? I'm gonna keep that in. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Well, welcome. This is the Cost of Goods Told podcast. I am joined by my co-host, Darren Lafferty.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Chef Ara. So,
thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. There's a lot of things to be thankful for today, and I want to get that out of the way right in the beginning. Ara, thank you so much for coming. I know I had the chance to come out and visit you, but for you to come on our very first official podcast just on a whim to take a chance on, I know you've known Darren, but you took a chance on some schlub who just came in with a camera.
You guys do an awesome job. It's my pleasure and honor to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Darren as well, thank you so much. Not only is this our first official podcast, but this is a sponsored podcast.
Yeah, very much.
Which is huge because we came in, we used this microphone right here to do a test, and it was okay, but it gave us the ability to actually up the production game. So thank you so much. And
You're welcome.
That's huge. And then one final one to our sponsor, which is Duke's Premium Meats, who has taken a chance on a podcast that has, you know, basically starting from zero. So they're banking on the potential. And not only is it a chance on them, it's also a great sponsor to have. You know, I got the chance to actually spend 3 days with them. Everything from testing their products, cooking their products, eating their product, to going out to Stone Cold Meats, seeing the butchers work, and then going out and actually meeting one of the ranchers, which is huge. So I'm just so grateful because the video productions that I've been doing, the Cost of Goods Told web series that I've been doing, hasn't charged anybody a dime. And to actually be able to now get 2 new microphones, you know, the arms, the pop filters. It's just, I'm super excited.
Yeah,
so forgive me if I got long-winded there, but I'm just so grateful.
Off to a good start. You know, Duke's Premium Meats, www.dukespremiummeats.com. Nobody beats Duke's Meats. I mean, I'm
gonna
told
laugh
that's
every
the
time
slogan.
you say
That's the
that.
slogan. So, you know, we'll give it a shot. And we want to thank Beavers Westheimer.
Yes.
Chef Arash, their management team, who have allowed us the space and to hang out, and so we're very appreciative of that as well. And awesome food, always getting creative. We were here, you know, a couple weeks ago, interviewing him and trying out his menu, and so super fun to be back. And
He's very talented. He does
very,
great food.
Absolutely. So
He really is, and you know, so again, it's so many people have just kind of opened their doors, and that's been the huge and fun process that I've been able to experience. Is, you know, all these chefs that are not only opening up their doors, but opening up their hearts, opening up, you know, their stories to me, and then allowing us to use spaces like this. So it's just been great. So
really good. It's cool.
So yeah, I know that got long-winded.
Off to a good start.
Off to a great start. You know, honestly, I didn't think I knew 2019 I wanted to really start hammering it. But to be at this level already is just huge. And, you know, the friendship that we've developed, or the friendship, I think it was almost an instant, you know, type of thing. I am so grateful and so thankful. So I want to make sure that I say thank you to everybody right off the bat.
You're welcome.
And it was a huge miss to say, you know, not to say thank you to Beavers
that's
as
why
well.
we're here.
So
that's why
right.
we're a team.
That's right. You help me stay afloat. So there's a few things that I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to start off the podcast with was just kind of some past things, you know, that I either ate at, or, you know, some different things that, you know, I experienced. And so I'm just going to kind of go right into it and talk about Just Greek. Okay. Had the chance to meet Chef Chris, which was awesome. I think the food there is absolutely fantastic. He's a really, really funny guy, somebody who I hope to have on a podcast at one point, after a few beers, and then I think it'd get really interesting.
For sure.
But it was, you know, we published the Cost of Goods Told video on him. So if anybody wants to check that out, it's at on3media.co. And you know, it's just a funny story, and, you know, really, really good food. So I just wanted to make sure that I did a shout out to him, that I was wildly impressed.
I think what's interesting about that video that you did with Chris, Chef Chris over Just Greek, is that everyone has an introduction to the restaurant business at some time of their life, whether they're going to be a customer or whether they're going to be an owner or whether they're going to be a partner. And his story is, from a kid standpoint, was it's funny how a trip to Greece could influence his life to the point that when he got back to the United States, he wanted to open up a restaurant, and then held on to that dream for so many years. I think he was 13 or 14 there when he went.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And to have an experience in his native land, right? Because he's Greek, with a gyro that ultimately turned his life into the restaurant business. So it's super easy to get into the business. It's hard to stay in it and be profitable. But the fact that he's grinding it out and moved from Chicago, it's incredible. You got to watch the promo video, but it's a cool story.
But to take that true passion too, because he's not doing where you could easily get away with the frozen product and so forth.
Right.
Like the pork is all of that whole
all
muscle
hand
meat
stacked,
and
that's
yeah,
right. All
exactly.
hand stacked on the vertical spit and all.
So staying true to it, staying true to what he had as a kid, which is huge, because you could easily cut corners,
And look, not a lot of Greek restaurants do, but there are some that buy pre-made meat on a vertical spit, and go, hey, we're Greek. He takes so much pride in not doing that, right? So,
no, that's huge. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was the Hops and Hot Sauce Festival, which was out at Spindle Tap Brewery. I took my dad for his birthday, a late birthday, just kind of a guys out. It was. I will say this. I was a little. There was some great vendors there, but then when you also have like the Herbalife and the
thank you.
And the what is it, like the Green Mountain Energy guys that have a booth there. I get it, you're trying to sell booths and everything, but I wanted to see more guys cooking, and actually ran into Cesar Cano. He was a season 9 MasterChef runner-up, and he was making a Mexican sope with the and forgive me if I'm mispronouncing it, the cascabel salsa, and it was fantastic. It was a fried corn cake with black beans. It had this wonderful smoky flavor. The guy is really cool as well. He does taco pop-ups. And
so no brick and mortar. He just does pop-ups and jumps around. Okay.
He just does pop-ups out of his house. And he's an English teacher by day.
Wow.
So, but he, that was what I was looking for. They also had a pizza eating contest, and the contestants looked like they were hurting so
How
bad.
did I miss that? I mean, I'm all about the pizza.
No. This was like spicy pizza. Okay. So I actually talked to one guy, because some people obviously didn't finish their pizzas, and so they let crowd members come up and take a slice or whatnot. And I talked to a guy, and he said the hottest hot sauce that he tried in the venue was like a 7 in comparison to the pizza that he had, and it was a 10. So, and then there was one other place that I met as well. They're called Three Brothers Foods. They do a Diablo salsa green sauce. They're out of Old Town Katy. It's basically this kid had a passion for like saving rhinos, so he started to bottle his mom's salsa recipe, and it's actually grown into a successful business. They're in HEBs, they're in Ace Hardwares, they're in grocery stores. They've actually now been able to hire people to help out, because
with HEB orders you're gonna need some help.
That's exactly it, and so they have a little commissary kitchen that they're working out of. The brothers come in and they actually work it, and the mom helps them out with everything. So just super cool people. And my dad got a bottle for his birthday, and it was gone like that night. So
it's not terribly hot. It's
got
a lot of flavor to it. Or they,
No, because like my mom is the one that, like, if there's like pepper on it, she's gonna freak out, because that's too spicy for her. This is like that perfect heat, but it's on the and I'll have to refer to the video, because my dad actually, throughout the whole process, he was actually pretty darn good on camera, which was really cool to see. And so I'm gonna have to do some more videos with him, because he absolutely killed it, and his palate's actually really good as well. And he was talking about where he was feeling the spice, where he was able to get a balanced feeling of everything.
So the question is, did he learn that from you, or did you learn that from him?
Well,
being a chef.
Well, so like how like chefs always
we
have.
Don't want,
like,
we don't want you to lay down on the couch and tell us all your childhood
No,
stories.
right? No. But I will say, a lot of chefs have that story of like, oh, I remember working with me, grandma, in the kitchen and making the we were hamburger helper family
Yeah.
at times. You know, my dad would obviously grill stuff and everything
Right.
that. Having the chance to live overseas, you know, we got to experience a bunch of different foods, a bunch of different spices. But I think his palate is just kind of naturally gifted, you know, and I know that he and I will do wine tastings and he'll pick up some things. So he's just got the gift.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's good.
it is really cool. Two more that I wanted to talk about was just Rogel's Barbecue, which will actually be an upcoming episode of Cost of Goods Told for the video series.
Yep.
But just an awesome place, awesome guy. You know, I just enjoyed the experience like crazy. You know,
Russell does an awesome job.
Russell's so cool.
Russell and Misty
Yeah,
are
and
one of the
Misty,
best
yeah.
teams, right? It's one of
Yeah.
the best family, husband and wife teams that I know. You know 'em much
Yeah.
more intimately than I do, but just in passing with those guys, so nice. Sit down and have a conversation with you, and just will make time. I mean, it's super cool, very cool.
Yeah.
And the journey to get there too is really interesting
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So, and he was open and honest, and you know that was cool that he, you know, just laid it on the table and was just like, you know what, you know, there was a couple times where I didn't know if we were gonna make it, you know, and that's nice that people are willing to share that, because I think other people need to hear it.
I think I appreciate that most about any individual or that are open, is that what you see is what you get.
Right.
There's no games. So I appreciate about him and Misty as well. So
Absolutely. And then I actually had the chance to eat at Pierogi Queen, which has been on my list for a while. And that is some really good food.
Is it?
So, yeah, I
hadn't been there
really
yet.
enjoyed it. I would just say make a stop over there. The Polish sausage was fantastic, and all the pierogies were really good. So thank you, Bernadette, for lunch out there. So what about yourself? Have you ran into anything? Have you heard anything? You know, because you were at Truth Barbecues.
So I did show up on the morning of Truth Barbecue, their grand opening. I did not wait in line. It was super long. As a matter of fact, I was just running in between locations on a photography shoot, but I decided to pull in the parking lot and just literally start snapping pictures and get some Instagram stories, things of that nature. And the line was literally wrapped around the building. It was probably an hour and 15 before the opening, 11 a.m. And I had a double park. I mean, I double parked my truck and I was just waiting to be towed or ticketed. But it looks fantastic. All the reviews sound, absolutely delicious. The pictures are gorgeous. I understand that, from the other very seasoned barbecue people that have been, it's just absolutely wonderful. He looks dead tired, as you would be when you first open up a business, right?
Yeah,
There's no-
especially your second location.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how much business they're doing in Brenham right now. From what I've read, they're kind of stagnant at the moment because all the attention is here. But they are going back. It's not closed down. They're going to reopen it with some sort of vigor once they get their feet underneath them with the new location. But Truth sounds delicious. It's a gorgeous restaurant. It's very, I would call it rustic, but yet chic on the inside. I'm looking forward to eating there for sure.
They had a lot of fanfare coming in, so that's why I was.
They had a lot of attention. Have you been yet, Aura? Have you had a chance
To the
to
new
go?
location?
Yeah.
No. I've been at the original one in Brenham.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with my schedule, it's kind of hard to get out. I have to sneak in there one day, and just try it out. So we'll see.
And I react to people posting pictures, and I can just only do a hand clap or that looks delicious or a drooling emoji. I can't speak to it, but man, I can't wait to go.
They do an awesome job. I don't care where they open up. Their attention to detail is phenomenal.
There's a lot of movement around craft barbecue right now. A lot of movement. I mean, there's a huge influx of pit masters and craft barbecue, whether established outside the city or they're brand new. They've all been kicking it for a while, either on pop-ups or side gigs and hustles. The craft barbecue movement is huge right now, and it's delicious. And I'll run out of money before I get to all the restaurants, I promise you. But Houston is a really exciting place to be right now around barbecue. Really exciting. Aura and all of it's a great community too, the barbecue community. They all seem to be, for the most part, very supportive. They all wear each other's gear. They all are slapping each other on the backs. I mean, you go to any kind of barbecue cook-off nowadays, and if there's 10 of them, there's 10 of them helping each other out if they need it. I mean, it's really refreshing to see that in the restaurant industry, so to speak. Other restaurants supporting each other, and it just happens to be in the barbecue community. So for the most part, it's really refreshing.
You know, barbecue is a everyday man's food, and it usually brings people together.
Right.
So us as barbecue restaurant owners and pit masters, and we we support each other because it's natural in the business that we're in.
Yeah.
And we're all pretty much very close friends. So there's a lot of us who hang out. Unfortunately, we don't get to see each other as often as we like. We usually see each other at events or barbecue festivals, and once we do see each other, we hang out as long as we can because we're up all night smoking meat. So that's the fun part of us when we do events, is when we get to hang out and have a chance to catch up and what we're doing.
Definitely.
Yeah, I also have been just kind of watching your eyes a little bit, and every time we've mentioned, like, let's say Truth, or, you know, that we're here at Beavers, there hasn't been like a, you know, I know we're going to get to you, and I want to talk about your barbecue like crazy, which we'll get into in just a second.
Definitely.
So, but it does seem like that community is there, which is awesome, and that's really cool. Duke's Premium Meats Home Delivery is your one-stop shop for premium quality meats delivered right to your doorstep. Delivering all over the United States, Duke's Premium Meats offers you the best in quality by personally working closely with local ranchers and butchers. Duke's Premium Meats offers everything from fillets and lobster tails to heart-shaped ribeyes to Texas-raised Wagyu brisket. Get amazing meat delivered right to your door by using Duke's Premium Meats. Visit their site at www.dukespremiummeats.com.
You are the best thing. Are we on? Are we going?
We are on.
We're
We are on.
rolling.
We're
wow.
going. We're rolling. So why don't Darren? Why don't you do an introduction and everything?
So, yeah, welcome
Right,
back.
so-
This will be our next 20 minutes going in. We've special guest today, and we like to include special guests on every podcast. But we are honored on the very first podcast to have Chef Aura from Harlem Road Texas Barbecue. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
It's an honor to be here. And by the way, happy birthday, bud.
Hey, thank you very much.
Finally catching up.
This is the best birthday present ever.
Yeah, right.
Sitting on the couch next to you, drinking a cold beer, talking about barbecue in the industry. So happy to have you, and honored, and hopefully this won't be the last time
Likewise.
you'll be with us.
One of many.
Thank you. So give us, give us a little history about Chef Aura. You don't have to give away all your closet, your skeletons in the closet, but tell us who you are. Tell us, where you've been, and a little bit about, your barbecue style and your restaurant, things of that nature.
Wow. That's a long story. I don't think this segment will be enough.
We got to start in Switzerland.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
that.
I'm a classically trained chef, so I've been around food all my life. My love for food started with cooking with my grandmother in the kitchen, helping her out. And she was a phenomenal cook, made everything from scratch, all her pastries. When I was in boarding school in Switzerland during the summers, I started apprenticing in a French kitchen under a French chef at age 12. So that's where I learned the actual craft. And I started as dishwasher, prep cook, worked my way up to butchering and cooking on the line. So when I moved to the States, I worked in various restaurants, and I knew I wanted to open up my own restaurant at some point or another. So I started working in a different aspect of the restaurant business. I already had the kitchen part, so I started working in the front of the house to learn everything I could possibly learn about the industry and about the business. Food is only a small part of the restaurant business. It's just it's truly a science to open up a restaurant from ground up. I worked for Wolfgang Puck for several years. I was his corporate executive chef. After that, I had 3 restaurants in San Francisco, 2 French ones, 1 Mediterranean. And I came for vacation to Houston, visit my cousin, his wife, and his 2 kids. I missed my nephews so much that I didn't want to miss them growing up. At the time, one was 2, the other one was 6. Moved here basically to corrupt my nephews.
And were you successful?
Yes, absolutely. The oldest one actually works for me.
Well, now they're going to be on the show next time, so we
Yeah,
get all the
yeah.
secrets. We get
Absolutely,
all the secrets.
yeah. So, and I fell in love with Texas, specifically Texas barbecue, because it's simple, it's clean, doesn't have all the sauce on it, just salt and pepper, especially on the beef. And it's a very unique style of barbecue compared to all the barbecue that's served in all of the United States. It's very specific. It came naturally.
Yeah. Now, so what I find most interesting thus far is that you mentioned you worked your way through all the positions, prior to even coming here, right? And then you decide you want to do a restaurant, and it's not necessarily about the food, although it is, right? You got to put butts in seats to make it work. But the science behind the business, which is equally, if not more important, to being successful and staying in business, is the management of costs, the management of people, right? Being efficient. I mean, there's so many different layers to being successful in this business.
The restaurant, whenever I do a lot of consulting, whenever people ask me, I want to get into a restaurant business, I give them 3 advices. First one is, don't even go there. Save your money, invest in something else.
Throw away your weekend.
My second advice is don't do it, and my third advice is still don't do it. It is a tough business. Unless you've done corporate ran restaurants that the science behind opening up a restaurant. I mean, this is my 15th restaurant I've opened up from ground up. Every single one of them has been profitable within the first quarter. But food and having the great food is a very small part of the restaurant business.
But I think
it's one part of it. It's important,
right,
but it's not the most important.
But the brigade system of like the French kitchen, it's almost like, okay, you just kind of work your way up, but you never it's almost like a chef is never trained on that additional stuff, what it takes to deal with HR, what it takes to deal with the full ordering, what it takes to just deal with customers in general,
or how to create a well-balanced menu that it's cost effective.
Exactly.
I mean, I can put a lot of amazing stuff even at my barbecue restaurant on a daily basis. I don't do it because it makes no financial sense to do so. Right. It's not going to sell. I don't care how good the product is. Just because it's good doesn't mean it needs to be on the menu. Right. If it's not efficient and fast to produce, and if it's not cost effective, it has no business being on the menu.
What's amazing about the 3 of us having this conversation already, right, is we all have varied backgrounds. Right?
Yeah.
I'm from the distribution side, the sales side, the marketing side of the food business. I'm 25 years in the food industry with a food science degree. But I've never owned and run a restaurant. So to sit here, because my perspective is anyone who's been told that they have a great recipe or their food is so good you should open up a restaurant, those that take the leap are so naive about getting into the restaurant business. They leverage their homes, their 401k account, their kids' college money, and they jump in, and 6 months a year later, they're out.
Yeah.
What you guys speak to specifically is what's the most important thing, and it's food. You got to have people come eat your food.
Absolutely.
But it's about running a business, right?
Well, that was the frustrating part about talking with you, and I mean frustrating in a very pleasant way, in the fact that when we were having conversations and you were talking about the depth of the tables that you had, that was something that you were considering so that people could sit closer, so that people didn't have to yell in your restaurant and everything. And it's like, well, shit, he's doing this amazing food, but then he's also that conscious of all of that.
It's attention to detail in everything that I do personally, for me.
Right.
You have to pay attention to every little detail in the restaurant business. It's not just the food and plating it. It's the sound, it's the lighting, it's the echo in the room, which a lot of people don't pay attention to when they open up a restaurant. The flow of the restaurant, it all adds up. And if you don't have that attention to detail on every other aspect, you are going to lack that attention to detail to the food also. I can tell you what my food cost is for my barbecue sauce down to the ounce.
As you should.
As you should. I do inventory in my restaurant once a week.
Right.
So I know what my food, that way I can adjust it for the month, and I can see and know what's going on a daily basis. I mean, I'm used to it. I used to run 82 restaurants simultaneously, but that's why I'm successful at what I do. There's a lot that goes into restaurant business. I can tell you based on the number of seats that you have in a restaurant, how many knives, how many forks, how many B&B plates you need, which doesn't translate to our type of barbecue. We serve everything on a tray with butcher paper, but you know, it all adds up.
Yeah.
So you know, that's the most frustrating part for most people who get into the restaurant business or who do barbecue, and they go, "Oh, I've done barbecue, I've done pop-ups." Well, doing a restaurant doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be successful at it.
And having a food truck doesn't equal brick and mortar, and brick
No.
and mortar doesn't equal
Well,
pop-up. I mean,
yeah.
or catering or any of those events. They're all completely different, even though they're under the same umbrella
Absolutely.
as opportunities to make money, get your name out there, and things of that nature. So equally as complex as having a food truck or even a pop-up, right? Just from a different level. So.
And nowadays with social media, it's such a huge part of
Yeah.
our restaurant industry
Right.
that, you know, you have to have a huge presence on Instagram and on Facebook and constantly post and the right time to post.
Right.
Yeah, with the right pictures. You know, I was fortunate enough to have this guy right here at my restaurant to take some amazing shots of my food, and that makes a huge difference rather than taking a picture with a phone that is not done right. The color, the lighting, it all makes a huge difference.
It does. And I mean, people are literally live tweeting an opening of a restaurant or their
Yeah.
their dining experience, and it's almost like, even if it's in Switzerland or if it's in Europe or something like that, I still feel like I'm sitting there, you know, getting the same, you know, not the same experience, but getting the experience from their, you know, viewpoint. And it's the same thing. If your social media game isn't on point, if you don't have the right photos, people don't read anymore. I don't think that's why Instagram is blowing up.
It's,
you know,
yeah, this isn't the social media of 5 years ago, right?
No,
Instagram
no.
stories, Facebook stories. I mean, everything is instantaneous, and the attention span of the consumer or possible consumer gets shorter and shorter and shorter.
Absolutely.
Right? So your images have to be on point. They've got to be beautiful when you post, right? So if you're posting in the middle of the night and they don't have notifications turned on, they don't see that. So you've got to
No.
know when you get the most amount of traffic on your social media.
Absolutely.
So that's a great point. It's just another level of complexity to owning a restaurant.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the old school restaurateurs don't see the value in that, and that's
It's unfortunate.
it's unfortunate. You know, I mean, everything we do is so detail oriented, and if you don't pay attention to that, your business suffers as because of it.
now I know we've talked about the business side of things and
Yeah.
so forth, and yeah, that is a big factor. I do want to talk about the food though.
Okay.
My personal experience, I know that there was someone who joined me, you know, and sat with me and ate, and I literally wanted to take just a quiet moment, because it was when I think of barbecue, I think of, you know, a certain style. When I was eating your food, in the most manly way, it was super playful, and I took a quiet moment. I literally sat there and I was just like, I'm just going to enjoy this. I just want to experience the food because this is something different, you know, technically savvy, you know, just all the little touches to it. It was just a different experience than what I was anticipating. And when I have those moments, I want to make sure that I'm capturing it, because it is something that I talked to my wife for an hour in the car as we were battling traffic, and by the end of it, she was just like, "Are they open?" You know, because
You know, for me, it was such a treat to have you there because you notice the attention to detail that I put. For the average person, they don't notice it. I brought to my barbecue restaurant the attention to detail that I did to my fine dining food. Targeting using great products that are consistent, and that attention to detail, the fact that I don't mix my salt with my pepper when I put it on my meats, because I want to be able to control the amount of salt that goes on the fatty side of the brisket compared to the lean side, to the bottom compared to the top. That way I have full control over it. It's just little attentions to details like that. When Daniel Vaughn actually came to the restaurant from Texas Monthly, he noticed that I don't boil my potatoes for my potato salad, and that I salt them when I bake them.
right.
So, I mean, my hat off to that guy. He's got a phenomenal palate that he was able to notice that.
Yeah.
And to me, it means a lot when somebody notices those little touches.
But if you're a regular customer and you're not noticing those things, you still leave with an experience. Like,
Yeah.
it's one of those where if it's done right, the customers don't notice it. They just leave with a great impression, you know?
Yeah.
When a place is comfortable, when a place has the right lighting, when I'm not having to yell at yell to talk to whoever I'm dining with. When the food is, it is just, it had such a different twist to it, and I was like, okay, this guy's trying to do something, and we'll go into detail about it a little bit, but the brisket and how you did things, was on one level, and everything was kind of like, hey, I'm gonna play to the Texans, I'm gonna appease to certain things. But I want to talk about the beans for a quick second, because that when I ate it, I started laughing out loud, because that felt like you were giving a middle finger to every Texan and saying, look, I'm going to do beans, and I'm going to do beans my way. And they were phenomenal. Just absolutely outstanding in the fact that it's going to ruin everybody else's like home barbecues for sure. But I could see where you were going, with the rib, with the brisket, even with the pulled pork. The pulled pork all had their own little twists and everything. But the beans were just something where you're like,
Can you tell me about the beans?
Yeah, please go into detail about those.
Beans, apparently.
I don't know if you had them that day, because I think the day you came to visit, Darren, you just had the meat.
Yeah.
And the dessert.
I'm a meatitarian on Mondays. I mean, I don't have sides. There's no sides on Mondays.
I wanted to, when I even did my sides or my desserts, is that I paid the same attention to every little item, including the sides. So I wanted to be familiar to people who eat even the canned beans that it wasn't so different. But the way I finish my beans is I put them in the smoker underneath the brisket in a pan, so it catches all the drippings from the brisket in it, and it's a simple thing to do.
But you put the burnt ends in
and
there
I put
as
the
well,
burnt end
so yeah, don't
brisket in
leave
there.
that out.
So all the little bits and pieces that we cut off of the brisket before we serve it, I chop it up and I cook it with the beans, and that gives it that nice depth,
smokiness.
Yeah, smokiness.
And that was the interesting too, was the smoke that I was getting off of everything, and the flavors that I was getting off of everything, because you use those wine barrels, to smoke it. It's such a smoother,
cleaner.
It's cleaner, but I mean
too, a little sweetness from that wood.
There is,
yeah, because of the red wine. That soaks into that oak.
And I think how you treat it from start to finish and everything is such a unique process as well. And when I say cleaner, I'm not dismissing anybody else's barbecue when they're using oak and so forth. There's room. There's a place in my heart for that type of taste. It's the same thing. One of my deepest, dirtiest, darkest secrets is that I love Long John Silver's. There's a place for Long John Silver's in my heart.
I wish they'd be 24 hours a day like Jack in the Box.
Yeah, right.
Roll up at Long John Silver's for a late night bowl of Crispies.
Right, exactly. I always ask for extra Crispies. It's just dig at the bottom of that barrel for me.
When my time spent over at your barbecue spot, Harlem, I mean, I'm not a duck guy. I'm not duck at all. I'm not lamb either. You're like, hey, we're going to have some lamb chops. I'm like, no, we're not. You're like, no, you have to try these. And I will tell you that he converted me.
Yeah.
Because the lamb that he uses is so superb. You talk about quality ingredients.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm not trying to toot your horn on the lamb chops, but believe me when I tell you, people are like, oh, we're having lamb. I'm like, no, I'm not having lamb. You said, no, you have to try them. I mean, I went through a rack quick. As soon as you brought them out, they were just so smooth. And I think from the wine wood, right, that you use to smoke, it didn't permeate them and change them in any way. They were phenomenal. And the same thing with the duck, right? My brother is a duck hunter and I'm not. So he'd always say, hey, you want me to bring the duck to you? I'm like, no, I don't eat duck. I do now, but only in one restaurant.
Yeah.
So,
well, I appreciate that. It's all about, the balance. So I wanted to make sure, because I do use great quality ingredients, I wanted to make sure that you got to taste the meat, not just smoke and the spice. Everything else is there to balance each other out. So I wanted my barbecue food to be very well balanced. So not overly salty, not overly peppery. You can taste the meat, no matter what the meat is. So, most barbecue restaurants don't do duck. I do it because I personally love duck, and I use it as a special that I run. And people who appreciate it, they get a chance to have it. Mm-hmm. And, it's nice and juicy, doesn't dry out. I cook at very low temperatures for a long period of time, so I don't lose that much moisture.
I've seen in Europe them use kind of that white smoke. Mm-hmm. What inspired you to say, okay, I'm going to come into Texas and I'm going to do basically a white smoke barbecue, with those wine barrels? I know you've got the background and everything,
Yeah,
but that's a risk.
Yeah,
you know?
it is a risk. I played around with different types of wood: post oak, mesquite, cherry wood, apple wood, and the one that I found, and I have used wine barrels to smoke meat with before in a commercial kitchen, but using the chips from it rather than the whole staves. And I found that to be, because it is also oak, but it's a much denser oak. I did a side-by-side comparison between that and post oak, and I was able to taste the flavors of the meats that I smoke with that much better than using post oak. Now, there's nothing wrong with using post oak.
No.
It's phenomenal.
It's all
It's
good. It's all
great.
good.
Right.
It's fantastic, but I personally prefer, for the type of meats that I smoke, the quality of the meats that I smoke, it just gives it a little bit of a different of a flavor profile.
I think every Central Texas style barbecue, or whether it's some other part, East Texas, they all have their little spin.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's what makes your restaurant and someone else's. I think it's been a great addition because
I appreciate
to
that.
your
Thank you.
point, again, from not loving duck or not loving lamb, right? I got to taste the meat for the first time instead of a mint jelly on lamb, or something about duck that I just didn't like before, and it was so clean and so neutral with just a slight hint of sweetness from that smoke.
Yeah.
That it was very enjoyable. I mean, I would definitely do that again. So that twist is a great twist for sure.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to say thank you to our sponsor, and we'll be right back.
So stick around. Thank you, number one, for Duke's Premium Meats as a key sponsor for the show. Cost of Goods Told and White Beard Photography. Stick around. We are going to have Chef Arash from Beavers Westheimer join us for more conversation.
Duke's Premium Meats Home Delivery is your one-stop shop for premium quality meats delivered right to your doorstep. Delivering all over the United States, Duke's Premium Meats offers you the best in quality by personally working closely with local ranchers and butchers. Duke's Premium Meats offers everything from fillets and lobster tails to heart-shaped ribeyes to Texas-raised Wagyu brisket. Get amazing meat delivered right to your door by using Duke's Premium Meats. Visit their site at www.dukespremiummeats.com.
So welcome back, part 3, Cost of Goods Told. We are here at Beavers. They have graciously given us one of their party rooms to hang out, record, and interview. A special guest on the podcast today is Chef Ara from Harlem.
Road barbecue. That's right. That's okay.
Yeah.
I'll get you there. It's okay.
It's
He
our
had a
team.
beer. He had a
We're a
beer in
team.
between.
We're a team.
you
This is
know?
how this happens.
He had a beer in between for his birthday.
And actually, because he's just not enough attitude for the podcast, Chef Arash from Beavers Westheimer has joined us, and it's always a good time. So thank you both for carving time out of your day.
Absolutely.
And it's a good time to have you both on the same couch, snuggled up together for this podcast. But
Oh, seriously. In the beginning part, I said thank you to a lot of people, and I'd like to personally thank you so much for letting us do this. And the first podcast that we did, the test run and everything, the conversation was so good. I'm actually going to upload that as a bonus podcast. It may not be as clear as these microphones, but because of that, and because we've been able to show people what we could do, that's how we were able to kind of upgrade things. So you giving us the opportunity has now given us, given us a step to the next level. So thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
and jokingly so, it could be more of a blooper reel than anything else. But look, this podcast is designed to speak to independent business owners, whether they're barbecue or not, and chefs and people who know a lot about the industry and the business itself. But to have fun too, right? So we're not here dogging anybody out.
Right.
We're not here talking bad about other restaurants. It's literally so we can have a whiteboard, a sounding board to talk about what's happening and to learn from you guys all together. So we all bring a different background. So,
But we got two guys who are on, I feel there is a barbecue component to Beavers, but it's not a barbecue restaurant 100%. And the same thing with Harlem Road Barbecue. It is a different style of barbecue. It is a different style of sides. It's a different feeling than other barbecues. So it's kind of cool to have two guys who, I know, you built up the barbecue program here to kind of get its name going. That's kind of what they wanted, but you've taken so many twists and turns and done so much that is off the wall that it's become a restaurant where if I Google it, yeah, Google Maps may say Beavers Barbecue or something may say Beavers Barbecue, but now I'm starting to see more just Beavers as a restaurant, which is really cool. And I feel like I want to just buy you like an extra kitchen so that you can do some other stuff too, because you're so creative with just your smokers and things like that, and what you can do with the kitchen setup that you have, that it's like, I want to give you just that little extra component where it's like, okay, now I want to see what you can do.
Well,
you know,
I did one last year in November. I did a wine dinner, 7-course wine dinner paired with 7 wines. And there was only one dish that had a smoked component to it. So I'm going to start doing those in March. Starting March, it'll be first Saturday of every month. Very limited seating, 30 people max. And then I'm going to have guest chefs who are going to come in and we'll do them together.
Cool. So
I'm going to try to sucker this guy to doing one with me. So.
Yeah, I'm down.
for those listening, tell us where your barbecue restaurant is.
It's in the city of Richmond, 9823 Harlem Road
Okay.
in Richmond, Texas.
So for those of you who live in the Houston area or know about the Grand Parkway,
Yeah.
it's just inside 99.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah. It's the easiest way if you're coming from the Loop is taking West Park Tow Road and getting off Grand Mission and just going south. And
cool.
Yeah.
What days are you open?
We're closed Mondays and Tuesdays.
Okay.
Wednesday through Sunday, we open up at 11 a.m. until we run out.
So you have lunch?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. So those working out in that area
Yeah.
or who are want to be barbecue in the middle of the week, you've got that option for them.
Absolutely.
Good.
now you
good.
do have to look for it. You know,
Yes, it is not easy to find. I mean, it looks like an old barn. Inside is completely different than what it looks like on the outside.
By design. That's
By
right.
design.
Right.
So,
But you'd be surprised what I mean. There's a giant beaver out front here,
Yeah.
and people are still missing it. You know,
people
so
still miss it. My place has a giant horse, steel
Right.
metal horse up front.
And you can smell it from miles around. I mean,
Yeah,
once you
you
get
can.
close.
Yeah.
If you don't know where you are, just roll your window down and smell for the
Follow
smoke.
the
and
smell of the smoke.
That's it. So, great restaurant.
Thank you.
And then, Chef Arash, tell us where you're located at here at Beavers, West Island.
Kind of in the Galleria area of Houston, 6025 Westheimer. Again, yeah, there's a 25-foot beaver out front. You gotta look
It's
for
hard
it.
to miss, but you can miss it.
It's camouflage. I mean, a lot of people drive right past it, and they just don't. It blends into the environment. But we did it on purpose. We wanted to do like a little habitat behind them with cypress trees and the whole 9 yards. So you just gotta keep your eyes open a little bit when you go down Westheimer.
So we talked, a little earlier, Chef Arash, Chef Ara, we talked to you about how you got into food, sort of your history of that, and you're putting your own spin on smoking and smoked meats and the barbecue business itself. Chef Arash, you also have Beavers didn't start out a barbecue place, and when correct me if I'm wrong, when you got interested in barbecue, you literally threw yourself into the business and helped people who needed help. Jumped on other crews who needed, to get your hands dirty and to start learning the smoke side of barbecue, just like any chef would, except without the schooling. You just go to school of hard knocks. So
yeah, it started out as fun little side thing and just to pique my interest and learn the ropes. And I met Ara, and he was one of the first guys that was gracious enough to teach me and show me how to run the smokers and the whole 9 yards, and I'm truly grateful for that, because then that just took everything to the next level. Before I was just using janky smokers and kind of home rigged things.
Well, it was great to have somebody who is also a classically trained chef to work together, and he is awesome to work with, and he's such a he's being very modest. He already knew what he was doing. I really didn't teach him anything. We just hung out and smoked meats together. When he was on, when his hands were on the Anthony Bourdain show, we did a pop up together at Axelrad. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
But I think the other thing that I can see between the two of y'all, when I watched you work, there was a meticulousness. There was, it was clean to the nth degree. And I know that you've got the situation with your arm and so forth, but your staff has carried that over as well. That It's a pretty precise operation, and I think that comes from a different style and a different training than if you just jump into the barbecue world, because the barbecue world can be a lot of smoke, can be pretty dirty. A lot of the sides don't have to be that intricate or whatnot. You know, when you're putting a smoked pimento cheese together, when your mac and cheese has, you know, it's coated, it's not drenched, you know, you can see that there's that fine tuning and that level to it, which is really cool to see. And now there's the barbecue component to it, but there's so much more that y'all are bringing to the table, and it's a lot of fun to watch y'all create. I hate watching your Instagram account though, because all right, sometimes you put some things on there and I'm just like, I want to eat that, you know. So I'm gonna have to get to one of those wine dinners.
I
for
do
sure.
that with Chef Arash too, though.
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
Chef
all the
Arash.
creativity, and you're like, this guy's mind must be blown. Every
I'm getting
night
that guy a
when-
pizza
keep
oven
up
for
with this
sure.
guy.
No.
I didn't go to bed till 4 in the morning last night, just watching videos, reading recipes. Just when I get fixated on one thing, I just keep going and going and going until I do it. But we're planning a dinner. I don't want to mention anything yet, but I'm not going to do it until it's perfect. But it's going to be pretty badass. But yeah, once you get any chef or you get fixated on a thing, and you got to perfect it before you launch it. But
Sure. Hey, speaking of perfection, so look, in the general food business, it's not rocket science, right? It's not.
Simplicity is key.
Where I'm going is baking is a science, right?
Yeah.
You put too little yeast, you're dead in the water. You put too little water, you're dead, right?
Yeah.
But in smoking, it's a science.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You time, temperature, seasoning, moisture, wrap, smoke. I mean,
And a lot
would you
of
guys
it,
agree
yeah,
with that?
With smoking, a lot of it is actually touch and feel. It's not something that I can give you a written down instruction on.
Right.
Tell you, well, you need to smoke it at this many degrees for this much time. It is such a. It comes only with experience.
Yeah.
You can't just give direction to somebody. Say, people always ask me, how long do you smoke your briskets for? Until they're done.
And what temperature,
That's-
right?
Yeah, and I like to smoke at much lower temperature for a longer period of time. Some people like to smoke hotter,
Which
but-
I think you do here, right, Arash? Yeah. So I think it's awesome that you've got two guys who can appreciate each other's barbecue, who
doubt.
have two different philosophies.
And excellent barbecue.
Excellent
At that.
barbecue.
Oh,
yeah,
phenomenal
absolutely.
barbecue.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think the exterior, right? So outside temperature plays
Yeah.
a role. Humidity plays a role. I mean,
altitude.
Yeah, altitude, exactly. So yeah, someone's in Colorado saying, "Hey, how long do you slow and smoke this thing?" You're like,
Yeah.
"Well, in Texas, this is
Yeah.
where we're at, but in Colorado, it could be totally different." So
Yeah, what is the temperature that once the brisket hits, it doesn't take on that? Is it
136.
136? Yeah. So little things like that. Like I didn't know that, you know, and I do some barbecue at home and stuff, but little things like you were talking about. There is a science to it. There is a formula to it. But I like that guys can play within it. You know.
So you stayed up late looking at recipes and videos, and what keeps me up at night is often wondering though too is where do you guys like to eat? Because look, with your with you guys cooking all day, right? I'm not gonna say you're sick of food, but you got your place. I mean,
Yeah.
you're like, man, this is where I want to go, right? So I want to know where your top three places. So Arash, top three, and then Ara, top three. And look, you're not going to offend any. This is a safe zone. I'm only going to blast this out to about 100,000 people. So
Okay.
not even touching Houston market, but look, where do you like to go? I mean, late night or when you get off, or maybe it's just home. Maybe you like to go home and make something. But
no, I don't. If I do cook at home, it's me practicing something on the small scale that
pizza crust.
Yeah, pizza. I mean, I'll do the pizzas at home. Again, but that takes 3 days, and I build that up. So I'll start maybe Monday, and then on a Thursday I'll be able to make pizza. So I got to get in that mindset, or start the dough Wednesday, have it ready for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It all depends. I mean, but guilty pleasure. I'm not gonna lie. After work, I mean, I can probably make the same thing here, but Taco Bell.
Shut up.
Yeah.
99-cent menu, or you going big time? You going like $1.79,
Yeah,
$1.89?
yeah. Stupid combos, crunchy tacos, those Dorito tacos. I don't know.
Oh my god.
Hey, those are pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's stuff like that you get the low end there, but you want to recreate something like that here on a higher end with better ingredients that's super fresh. I'm like, I can make a crunchy taco and make it badass.
My inspiration is now Taco Bell. I mean, I'm hearing you. You're like, I go to Taco Bell, and then I
Yeah.
just find a way to make it better. I'm like, that's awesome, man.
You know, that's what keeps me up and keeps me going. I mean, there's high end places that I like to go, but I don't get to go there often because I'm always here. You know, that's like I'm treating myself maybe once a month, twice a month.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. You're busy. You
full
stay
range,
busy.
yeah. That's like a full range dinner. But if I'm just gonna like eat something really quick, there's tons of shawarma trucks and Middle Eastern places around here, Indian restaurants.
You
I
guys
mean-
are doing a 44 Farms Gyro here too, right?
Yeah, Fridays, that's our special.
Oh man, sounds. We saw that last time we were here. It looked
yeah.
phenomenal.
So I want to interject real quick because when you both talk about using high-end ingredients and then taking something to the next level, most of the time when I talk to somebody or I hear somebody talk about it, it almost comes off as pretentious. But you both, like how you prepare coffee are in the morning. It is a great cup of coffee, and you just say, I want to make a great cup of coffee. It's not like, oh, I only use this, da 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 da. But you are selective on the products that you use, both of y'all. But it doesn't come off pretentious, nor does the menu come off pretentious. And
I think for both of us, we're very similar mentality and similar style of approach to food. I want to be able to provide my guests with a great product that they normally wouldn't without it making too unapproachable.
right.
So I want it to be approachable. And if
Yeah.
I made it more too pretentious, it puts people off.
Yeah,
Right.
I think that's the
Yeah.
problem with a lot of these chefs in Houston, or in general. They try to take something super simple and like just Vietnamese food or Thai food, simple things like that, which is like 4 or 5 ingredients, and it's typically affordable. They do some ignorant stuff to it. They're like, "What the hell is this? Why am I going to a fine dining restaurant and eating Vietnamese food or whatever it is?" And you know, you go in the mindset, okay, I'm gonna go eat a badass, you know, Gulf Coast, whatever, and then you're just like, I don't even know what this is. They put weird things on the.
Yeah, I mean,
You can't pronounce it. You know, you don't want to eat that. So you
For
gotta.
me, pho is like such a comfort,
Yeah,
you know, dish. When you get, there's a certain degree of being creative, and then there's a degree of, okay, you've gone too far.
Right.
no reason why that should be $15, right?
You-
$9.95 all
you know-
day, right?
You know what? I will spend hundreds of dollars for one dish, but you will not get me to pay $15 for a pho.
That's what I'm saying. You've gone
I don't
too
care
far.
what you
right?
put in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be inexpensive comfort,
Right.
right?
And if you can still, y'all have found the balance, especially with y'all's menus, to make it so that you can create, you can honor where it's coming from, whether it's the euro or it's a pho or something like that. But then also that it stays in that affordability thing, and
Yeah.
that is, I think, a lot of chefs struggle with that. And it's, I want to put my twist on it. I want to, up it to the, nth degree, but. To keep it approachable for everybody.
Yeah.
That's a lot of elements to play with, and
It is like for me with my lamb chops, they are not
Yeah.
cheap, but I don't serve them every day. It's not on my menu. It's a special that I serve on Fridays. I do maybe 6 racks of it. When it's gone, it's gone. So and it's $45 a pound. I mean, it's a very high food cost item for me. Normally, as a restaurateur, you try to keep your food at 25% food cost,
Right.
not counting your labor.
Right.
So that, even at $45 a pound, it's at a 50% food cost for me.
right.
So that's pretty high. So I can't afford to put it on the menu on a daily basis.
Right.
But it is such a great product that people love it. I put it on the menu as a special.
Well, it's a long walk from California. That's why it's so expensive.
Yeah.
This lamb have to come a long
That's
way.
why it's so tender, because they bring the entire herd from California. to
That's
here.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. Vegetarian diets are very expensive.
And all our food, all the meats that we serve is 100% vegetarian. They all eat only grass.
It's excellent. It's excellent.
It is. It's absolutely phenomenal. Both y'all's spots, and that was kind of cool. That you was excited to come here because you know what they do here, and I was just excited that I was going to have 2 awesome chefs. Who after seeing their operations and after talking with both of them, I'm very impressed by both y'all's establishments, and it's really nice to have y'all on here.
We try to support each other's businesses, and we go to other friends of ours that we have a lot of mutual friends that we'll go to their restaurants when we want to eat. Unfortunately, when you have your own restaurant,
Yeah.
your time off that you get to go out is
Right.
so late or so early that everybody's closed.
Yeah.
Right.
My days off, he's closed.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't have any days off, but
Well, no, but to your point, so lots of restaurants open and lots of restaurants closed, but
Yeah.
the craft barbecue we said earlier is really exploding. And recently, I can give a shout out to Blood Brothers.
Yeah.
You guys were there. I mean, the opening, the soft opening. I mean, you were all there
we make
supporting
time.
each other. That's right.
Yeah, we make time.
And that's what's important about this food scene is that everyone's, all ships will rise if everyone supports each other. And you could look at each other as competitors,
No.
but you don't. You
No,
look at it
no.
as resources and education and hey, how do we help each other out? And so it's
There's plenty of business to go out there for all of us,
Yeah.
and on top of that, we're all friends.
Yeah.
So it's not a real. When we go to each other's restaurants, we'll post that we're there. We'll Instagram it, try to boost each other's business up.
Right.
I mean, that's the right way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you see John Brotherton coming from Pflugerville to go down to Willow's Barbecue, a little pop up, right? So that's 3-hour drive, right? That he's taking time out of his day. Or you see a Wade Elkins down there at Willow's, or whoever, Joey Victorian, they're all hanging out.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to go be a part of that because people are just super cool and they want to hang out and not throw rocks at each other. You know? So, congratulations to you both for having a fantastic mentality
Thank you.
of support
Thanks for having us.
and brotherhood and kinship too.
Absolutely.
Say that again. That's okay.
nothing.
You can.
No.
That's all right.
I
There's
just wanna-
editing.
I
There's
just
an
wanna
editing
thank you guys
process, though.
for having us here, and Beavers for hosting and allowing us to be here, and your wonderful sponsors, and both of you guys.
Yeah, it's our pleasure.
Thank
I
you.
mean, thank you to Duke's Premium Meats for
Yes.
for sponsoring this show. And from what I've been told, nobody beats Duke's Meats. So I mean,
I'm never going to be able to keep a straight face with that one. But, once again, thank you both for spending so much time, because I know it's hard for y'all to put aside. I mean, we started at what, like 10:30, and it's now 1:20. So
the consulting fees kicking in.
I know, right? Yeah, I was like,
Shut this thing down.
This is fun.
no.
And I get to see Arash. I don't get to hang out with him too often. So.
And it's also awesome to see that dynamic from the outside too. Two chefs that are doing unique things, unique barbecue, relatively same realm, but also going, he does his thing. He's got his twist that he wants to do. He's doing his thing. He's got his twist that he wants to do. And we can both thrive and support each other. While in other areas, especially, up north where I went to school, it seemed very cutthroat, and there wasn't that. Even internationally, it's very cutthroat. And I like, right now it seems like, because I've done a couple barbecue places, that's the barbecue way. But I'm also finding other restaurants that are like, hey, I've got a Greek restaurant. I'm not in competition with the barbecue guy, so let's do a collab and things like that, which is just phenomenal.
I love eating his because it's different than mine, but also
Yeah.
gives me a different take on how he does. We've spent a lot of time together, smoking meats together, cooking together, but his barbecue is different than mine.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we enjoy eating each other's food because I respect him. I think he's incredibly talented, and it shows me something that I don't do. And I get to enjoy it
Well, that's awesome. So
and appreciate it.
I'm just going to say thank you to everybody. Darren, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Arash, thank you so much.
no problem.
Ara,
Thank
thank
you.
you. I really, really appreciate this. This has been a fun journey for myself. Growing something where I was doing it off of a GoPro to now I've got a halfway decent camera. Now I've got extra mics and everything. This is just huge. And because you guys have opened up the doors and because you guys have been so welcoming, this is all possible. So because of all of that, also thank you to Duke's Premium Meats one more time.
Yep.
No one beats Duke's
No
Meats.
one
I'm
beats-
never
no
going to
one
be able to
beats
say
Duke's
that.
Meats.
Um,
DukesPremiumMeats.com.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just absolutely wonderful. And I could not be more grateful. This could not be more of a wonderful starting point for the podcast. And I know I've said it 1,000 times, but I really, really, really am. So thank y'all so much.
No problem.
Future episodes of Cost of Goods Told coming up. We're gonna do one like this at least once a month, which is great. We hope to have so many different guests, and besides that, just follow at Cost of Goods Told. follow at Texas Food Review. All of those will be, updating with different projects that we've got going on, and we're just going to have different fun videos, fun photos, introduce you all to a bunch of different restaurants, but give you the behind the scenes. We're not going in there. We're not just tasting the food and talking about like, hey, I had a venison taco. Yay. we want to know, that wasn't bad, right? We want to know the stories behind the chefs and what they're trying to say. And we want to give the chefs the platform to tell their story without me or Darren having any sort of bias or any sort of agenda, where it's y'all's story. We want to hear from y'all, and I hope that comes across for any listeners. And
Today. I think it did today.
I hope so. And then just one final note: probably the only people that are still listening to this because I've rambled on so long. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Hi, Shannon. Hi, Cashel. Hi, Cindy. And hi, Lachlan. So I'm just going to end on that and send love to my family and send love to everybody who has supported this journey of mine. Duke's Premium Meats Home Delivery is your one-stop shop for premium quality meats delivered right to your doorstep. Delivering all over the United States, Duke's Premium Meats offers you the best in quality by personally working closely with local ranchers and butchers. Duke's Premium Meats offers everything from fillets and lobster tails to heart-shaped ribeyes to Texas-raised Wagyu brisket. Get amazing meat delivered right to your door by using Duke's Premium Meats. Visit their site at www.dukespremiummeats.com.